What if I told you that this sub $2,000 electronic drum set could sound better than setups twice its price? The Alesis Strata Club comes loaded with 25 gigabytes of sounds, 370 kit pieces, but the numbers don't always tell the whole story. So I went ahead and tested every feature against most major competitors to answer one question: is this truly the best value electronic drum kit under $2,000 currently? I'll be playing the kit and demoing it shortly so you can hear it for yourself, and it might change how you think about budget e-kits forever. Before we get into the demo of this first preset, I want to tell you just a little bit about it. So this first one is acrylic raw, and it's got a very tight snare drum. It's got a nice, fat, punchy kick, and the cymbals, they're really washy and they're not overpowering at all. And the kit itself, the way that it's mixed, it's just tight. There's not a lot of room sound or reverb. So let's take a listen. The Strata Club comes with a 12-inch dual zone mesh snare, two 10-inch dual zone mesh toms, and triple zone 360 cymbals that promise professional feel at a budget price. Setup is super fast and easy. Everything locks in nice and tight on the rack. You may need to add a cymbal stand if you want to position your crash cymbal a little bit differently than how the rack is configured. But for most players, the way that the rack is configured is going to be totally fine. The compact rack of the Strata Club is a huge plus in my book. I love the fact that it's so easy to move around and put away for storage. I think a lot of drummers will need that, especially if you're in a smaller apartment. This kit delivers flagship sounds without a gigantic footprint. The realism is incredible with the Strata Core module. Ghost notes in particular. When I sit down and I start playing, I start doing ghost notes and I'm grooving, and it feels so good. It's fun. If you're playing a groove with a lot of ghost notes, it feels so natural, and you don't really have to change any part of your technique like if you were playing an acoustic kit. It's just, they're pretty much identical feeling while you're playing your groove. You know, we've looked at these same pads on the Strata Prime and the Strata Core. The experience is pretty much the exact same. They're not too bouncy, they're responsive, and you can adjust them with a drum key if you want them to be tighter or looser, but really, they feel awesome just right out of the box. So this next preset we're gonna take a look at is another one I keep coming back to. This is New York Maple Thud. It also has a sort of medium tight snare drum. It's got some higher pitched hi-hats and a similar kick drum. Again, not a lot of room sound, pretty tight sounding. Let me know what you think. Let's take a listen. The clamps that hold everything together on the rack are made of a rigid type of plastic rather than metal, but once you get them tightened, they actually hold pretty well. And there's not a lot of wobble on this kit, even if you have it kind of set up wider like I have here. On the module here, Alesis went with a multi-pin connector to keep the module input tidy on the back. It's a good touch, but there is a catch. If one of the TRS cables fails connecting to your pads or cymbals, whether it's, from an overly curious dog or just from overtime, you're gonna have to replace the entire cable snake. The next preset we're gonna take a look at is called Texas Special. It's got a super tight snare drum. This one's a lot higher pitched than the last two presets. It pairs nicely with the hi-hats. They're a lot bigger in diameter, so they're a lot washier and lower pitched than the other hats we've heard so far. And the toms on this kit are massive. Let's take a listen. So the hi-hat system is where this kit really shines. It features a 12-inch arc triple zone cymbal with an active magnetic stand controller. And I have to say, it performs a lot better than most competitors in this price range. This thing can do half open hits, closed hits, foot splashes. You can play on the top, you can play on the edge. It actually works really well. Now, on the kick drum side, we've got an 8-inch compact kick tower, and you can hook up a double bass pedal. There's great response across the entire surface. One thing to note, however, with this entire setup, we're not gonna get a kick pedal, a hi-hat stand, or a drum throne, so that's gonna be additional expenses you're gonna need to factor in if you decide to get this kit. So the cymbals, they have this really unique vinyl record style pattern on them, and to be honest, I can't really tell a difference if I play a Roland cymbal or an Alesis cymbal while I'm playing, but what I will say is that the triggering of the cymbals, which is what counts, it works really, really well. I think that they did a really great job crafting a set of cymbals that works with the module that's really fun to play. And really the coolest feature is like, you don't have to just choke the cymbal with your hands, like you can just use your stick. I mean, it's not really like it's that useful, but it's one of the coolest features that while I'm playing, I'm coming up with new ideas and making grooves sound cooler just by muting the cymbal with the stick. It's really fun. This next kit preset is called Artist Birch Processed 2, and it sounds like something straight off a Steely Dan record from the 70s. We've got a drier, deeper snare drum, very muffled in tone. It's not ringy at all, just tight, warm sounding. The cymbals are, again, washy like I like. I don't like overly pingy sounding crashes and rides. They're just not for me. And the kick has a nice low end focus. It feels great, and it sounds great. This is one of my go-to presets when I'm practicing. Let's take a listen. Setup of the kit took me around 45 minutes. If you're new, budget around 1 to 2 hours to get this thing set up and fully configured. The rack itself is super compact, and it's actually easier to work with than a lot of larger e-kit setups. For example, the Strata Prime, which is the flagship model from Alesis, has a really large rack, and we've demonstrated that in the other review video. But even just keeping that kit stored is a little challenging just because of how big it is. So with a kit like this, you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting incredible sounds, and you're getting a kit that has a smaller footprint, so it's easier to store away. Definitely a plus. The Strata Club's module isn't just another drum brain. It's packing some serious firepower under the hood. Now, we looked at the core drum module on the Strata Core, and overall, this thing is solid. The 7-inch touchscreen isn't just for show. It controls the BFD3 sound engine that houses a massive 25 gigabyte sample library, which is mind-blowing when we compare to what Yamaha and Roland are offering for kits at this price point. The Roland TD07 module included with the V-Drums Quiet design, for instance, gives you just 20 preset kits and only 143 sounds total. On the other hand, the Yamaha DTX Pro, bundled on their new DTX 6K5M kit, has only 40 presets and 200 custom user kits. On the Strata Club, we have 75 factory kits and virtually unlimited user kits. Now, all of those impressive numbers come with a slight trade-off that you'll notice right away. The module takes about 30 seconds to boot up, a significantly longer wait than what you'd experience with competing models. If you're the type who likes to sit down and immediately start playing, this might test your patience a little bit, but honestly, it's not really that big of a deal. If you just go, when you're getting ready to practice, turn this thing on first, do whatever else you need, come back in 30 seconds, it's done. You know, this thing has insane processing built into it. Cut them a little bit of slack. I mean, this is similar to when you turn on your iPad, right? The iPad has tons of power. Same thing with the core drum module. The depth of sound that you get in the core drum module is pretty incredible. I mean, you're not just selecting presets and calling it a day. You can fine-tune practically everything. Individual instrument volume, dampening, tuning, attack parameters. You can even adjust microphone levels like kick in, kick out positioning, and room mic presence. So this gives you studio-like control right from the module. So something I like to do, I like to take down my direct mics sometimes and just blend in more of the overhead sound. I think that's really cool. And you can do that in 2 seconds on this module. If I were to perform that same action on something like the TD50 or the TD50X or the V71, those modules are so unbelievably complicated that it would take me to, going through through 5 different pages of menus to try and figure out even where to start. On the core module, it's just right on the screen and you can just drag the slider down. It's that simple. The touchscreen interface is really intuitive. It's one of my favorite parts of this kit. This thing is not a joke. It's really one of the most impressive drum modules there is, at least currently. The realism and the control are awesome, and it just makes you want to play more. It's really a fun experience playing on this kit. I could talk about mic blending and samples all day, and don't get me wrong, it's good that it has those features. But what really matters is these sounds, they make you want to play. Anytime I load up one of my favorite presets, I am down to keep practicing and keep playing songs and just have a blast playing drums, because that's what it's about. It's intuitive, it's inspiring, and the kit reminds me of why I started playing drums in the first place, and really why I love playing drums. So this next kit preset is called Big and Mean. Now, I don't usually gravitate towards roomier sounding kits, but in this case, this one has like a really cool vibe to it, and I really enjoy playing it. We've got a much deeper snare, big, kind of fat sounding, it's very powerful. And the overall ambience of the kit reminds me of that song, it's called Cult of Personality. It's by Living Colour. So it's kind of that vibe with like a deep snare. So the biggest limitation of the Strata Club's drum module is that it only has one set of stereo outputs on the back. If you're playing gigs where the front of house engineer wants separate outputs out of your module, you're going to be limited by the core drum module. But the Strata Club does redeem itself with some really forward-thinking features that even more expensive kits don't always have. The module supports wireless firmware updates via Wi-Fi, and this is a huge convenience that eliminates the headache for me when I'm trying to find a flash drive around the house. Just connecting straight to Wi-Fi and hitting one button to update the module is just such a quality of life feature that I think all modules need to have now. For those of you looking to record virtual instruments, the USB connection on the back works great with a computer. I tested it with both Cubase and Ableton Live with a bunch of different drum VST softwares. I tried it with Addictive Drums, Superior Drummer, I tried it with Easy Drummer. I also tried it with the free included BFD player. Super cool feature that if you want to expand the library of what you get with the core drum module, you can download a bunch of cool and amazing sounding kits with the free BFD player. And while controlling drum VST software, there's no noticeable lag when transmitting data from the module to the computer. The one thing I will say, if you're getting a bunch of delay at your computer, it's probably because your audio interface's buffer size is far too high. Try setting it to 128, let me know how it goes. So this makes the Strata Club a really good choice for home recording setups where, number one, you can't make a lot of noise. Number two, you want something you can kind of push away when you aren't using it. If you don't have a drummer in the studio for 2 weeks, put it away. It's compact enough. Number three, if you've got drummers coming in to record MIDI parts, it needs to still feel comfortable. You don't want the drummer coming in and feel like they're playing on a practice pad. This gives you a nice balance between a full-size regular acoustic drum set and a more micro electronic drum pad setup. It's the best of both worlds, and it's really a great option for recording studios and home studio engineers. And being that I do record a lot of bands here, this is gonna be probably my new way of capturing MIDI. I can have the drummer come in and it'll be really easy to get the parts rather than trying to either write them in or trigger with samples. We've got really awesome sounding cymbals, so we could even use some of this. We could just track with the MIDI, and we could also have like the overheads maybe. I'm just thinking of ideas of how crazy this could actually be. So this final kit preset we're gonna take a look at is called Binary Cleanse. Now this is probably the most compressed kit on the module, at least that I've found. We've got a really compressed kit, we've got a ringy snare, this thing sings. It's really, really loud and aggressive sounding. So I don't typically like kits that are like this, but again, this one has a vibe and it just fits. Using this preset works a lot of times on more aggressive music. Let's take a listen. So here's the thing, when I sit down at this kit, I actually smile. Like, this kit is just a joy to play. And I think that's something that we forget too often. We get wrapped up in the specifications, the technical stuff, the zones, triggering, all that stuff is important, but at the end of the day, what matters is if you're having fun while you play. Playing drums should be fun. That's what this is all about. The presets on the kit, the way that they sound and respond, the way they feel under your sticks, they just inspire me to play and practice. And that's not really something I say lightly, because I'll go down and I'll practice with my acoustic kit, and I'll be down there for an hour, 2 hours, and you start to get tired. You know, you start to get tired of hearing the sounds and you start thinking, oh, my drums sound bad. And you start tuning, adjusting stuff, and by the end of it, you're kind of uninspired, right? But with a tool like this, it's really easy. We can just swap to another favorite preset, boom, instantly I'm back in the zone and I'm feeling inspired to play. Yes, the core module is technically impressive. Yes, the BFD3 engine is powerful, but most importantly, the sounds that come out of this kit are flat out just fun to play. And that's the best thing that Alesis has done here. If you're looking for a kit that sounds great, feels great, and most of all, makes you want to play, the Strata Club nails it. If you want more details or are thinking about picking up the Strata Club, check out the affiliate links down below in the description. I get a small commission and no extra cost to you, which helps support the channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. YouTube thinks you'll like this video next. Let me know if they're right.